Good morning, traders and investors. Welcome to Benzinga's Pre-Market Prep, brought to you by Options House. I'm your co-host, Joel Alconin, along with Dennis Dick. And we have the pros here on the Benzinga News Desk, Brent Sava, Jake LeCure, and mighty Joe Young. Joe, you going to preview the show for us today?
I sure am, Joel. We've got three guests. We're triple stacked today. First off, at 8:35 a.m., we have Turney Duff, author of The Buy Side, which is a New York Times bestseller, and he's currently working on his second book, which I'm sure we'll try and squeeze a few comments on him about. Next at 9 a.m., we have Tim Melvin, MarketFi's Tim Melvin Deep Value Letter. Did I say 9 a.m.? Because he'll be on at 9 a.m. And then at 9:20, we have Kevin Ferry, co-founder at Cronus Futures Management. He created the company in 2005 with five other traders focusing on fixed income, foreign exchange, and equity futures trading in the electronic world.
Do you want to hear something about Kevin Cronus?
Kevin Ferry.
Kevin Ferry from Cronus Futures?
Sure, what do you got?
I think I remember him from the floor.
Oh, you do, huh?
Yeah. Yep, from the S&P pit.
So you guys are going to do a little reminiscing
Yeah,
today?
he won't remember me. I was just a little piker, and he was a he's a big time broker.
Well, hopefully he has fond memories of you, and he's not like, this guy. I'm not doing the show now.
No, he will. And it'd be good because he's an active guy, and have him on right near the open will be a special treat. So, okay, Dennis, moving on to the S&P 500 futures.
We're
Hanging
sitting
out.
here,
Yeah.
hanging out. Putin's talking, all exciting here, but the market is not responding to anything he's saying. 1889.50 is the low, 1893 is the high. That is a 3.5 point overnight range, and that was putting me to sleep last night when I was trading after hours.
Not much to look at here. 93 pre-market high, 1894 yesterday's high in the session. All-time high close. You guys are pretty sick of me saying this, but the all-time high close is 1894 and a quarter. 1898.50, the all-time high. We got to get to that 1900. I'm so glad I'm not going to lose another bet when this market hits 1900 today.
Are we hitting it? You're calling it right now. We're hitting 1900 because we've never hit 1900 on the futures, have we? We hit it on the cash, but we never hit it on the futures, did we?
Nope. And that the future is the only thing that counts.
And that's it. So we're still saying 1900 is still the wall to get through. You can't argue with resistance, though. We've been up here multiple times, failed here multiple times too. But will this be the day that the market takes it through? Possibly. And what about this gold, Joel? You got the big pop. You were all excited there yesterday. And look at today. We're right back at the magnet level. I'm calling 1290. No longer support. It's now a magnet. It literally, every time it gets away from 1290, we get pulled back in here. If you were shorting yesterday, we're away from 1290. Congratulations. You can rebuy it again here at this critical support level.
Do you think it's just one player? Just one guy just doing it. It's consolidating like this, and someone has enough, a big commercial has enough buying power just to manipulate this thing and, just get it where it wants, because it's just crazy the way really 1290, 1300. It did get above it yesterday, went to 0410. But came right back down. You hit 89.80 today. Just unbelievable consolidation in gold, folks. Break out the strangles or straddles or whatever you want, because what was I calling, like a Goldman upgrade on like Monday or Tuesday, and we come in $50 higher, because they're really the only one that makes flat out calls.
Do you still think we're going to rally out of here eventually? You've got this bullish scenario going, but maybe the play is like the whole Nick Shaheen. He just continues to write straddles, and I don't know if he's doing it on gold or not, but he's been doing those credit call spreads, and he's been getting paid, because when you are in a trading range and you are writing premium, that is the strategy you want to be doing. And it's hard to make money in a sideways market, but not if you're Nick Shaheen, because he's all over he's all over writing premium, and and he does it. I always like the way Nick does it too, because he'll buy an upside call and he always protects himself. So he's just doing the credit call spreads. But Nick right now is loving this market. I was talking to him yesterday on Twitter, and he's loving this sideways action.
Yeah, if you're taking in premium, you don't have to be right or wrong. You just need the market to sit still and or consolidate around a level. So maybe I'll consult Nick later in the day before I just do my harebrained strategies.
And we did have some earnings news there yesterday. We are starting to come out of earnings season, but what went on at Hewlett-Packard right before the
Uh-oh.
bell? Stock just takes off. Brentster, what do you got?
We did have a leak, and sometimes you see the case where one of those algorithms will be out there crawling the web. They'll be checking URLs, checking URL, the same URL from the last quarter, last year, and doesn't seem like it was the case this time. Seems like it was on the company's end. Looks like they inadvertently released just the first page of their press release. So as I'm looking at the press release right when it happened, just before the bell, I'm like, wow, this is like 50 words. Where is the rest of this report? Anyways, the company reported Q1 EPS. Where'd it go? In my list here. 88 cents. That was right in line. Actually, Q2, sorry. 88 cents right in line. Sales were 27.3 billion. That was a miss. Analysts were looking for 27.42 billion. We got a little bit of reaction as we saw those numbers come out around 3:30, and then HP just said, "Screw it. We'll release the whole press release." And you got a little guidance there. The guidance wasn't so hot. They said Q3 EPS in the range of 86 to 90 cents. Analysts are up at 89 cents. And then for the fiscal year 14, EPS expected in the range of 363 to 375. Street is around 371. Also, with that full press release, they announced that they're going to be raising their reduction in workforce plans from 11,000 previously to 16,000. So they are stepping up their job cuts.
That was a lot of information there, Brent. Or what you need to know if you're trading this thing is price don't lie, price don't lie. These algos figure out in a split second. And just because that report was out there for a minute, if it was out there for a split second, everybody would have been all over it because those news readers that just are obviously continuing to ping the site. If it's
Yep.
even posted in the background, they will find that news release there because remember that's how they used to do it. Disney and stuff, they used to always post it up and then give the link to the post at 4 o'clock. But a lot of them have stopped doing that because, like you said, you have these spiders crawling the sites, pinging every potential, URL of what it could be. So even when it's posted in the background and the link isn't publicly released yet, they can sometimes still find it. So the companies have kind of caught on to that. But it's price don't lie, and they did not like the report.
Do you think they hired the guy from Google to, because that happened at Google a couple years ago, and there was a big move in it.
Yeah, I remember that. 50
there-
points down intraday.
Yeah.
Caught a few traders by surprise. And that hurts traders too, because there's a lot of intraday traders, especially, even traders like at our firm, Bright Trading, that don't want to trade on the news. And, they're positioning themselves ahead of the report. When the report breaks intraday, it's like, boom, you have a lot of traders that aren't news traders. They're just trading, technically ahead of the report. And then that breaks on them. And then that's trouble. So, when news breaks during the day, it hurts intraday traders.
Trouble ahead and trouble below.
That's it. I guess it helps you if you're on the right side, but
A lot of interesting things about this chart. First of all, you got it during the news came out and you had the dip, so you do get the daily chart reflecting some of the price activity. 31.21 was what you hit on the daily, and then while they were still digesting the news, they took it down to 31.01. So that's the level. Now you're bouncing up above 31. What I'm going to do, I'm going to keep a close eye on 31.50 here as an intermediate number because you did have a couple lows in the 51.56, 51.37 area. So that's important. That would be a swing level. Below that, you have the pre-market low at 31.01. But Dennis, look what happens when you get under 31 here. It's not
cascade
pretty.
right through
Yeah.
that handle.
Do you think it
Yeah,
has the gas to get through that today?
I think there's going to be a lot of relevance at yesterday's low. It was broke, intraday. We had 10 minutes of real, traders in there because a lot of times what we say, after hours pre-market, 99% of traders don't trade that time frame. But there's a lot of traders that were already trading this information, and a lot of it was already getting priced in there, obviously after hours. That's why you see here, or during the regular session, that's why you see really muted activity here because it's already kind of been priced in. So we've already had probably the most violent move, but you got to respect yesterday's low. 31.21. There's probably going to be some buy the dippers kicking around there. And then everything up in the higher 32s because there's multiple resistance up at $33. So I'd say you're kind of in the middle here. I'm sitting on my hands at 31.78, but in the upper 32s, I'm maybe leaning to the short side and maybe trying to, but the buy the dippers might coming around 31.21.
Yeah, I was hoping that I was going to try and ping you on the bounce up because I saw that 33.36 was the intraday high. And boy, there's just look at all the highs in that area. 33.24, two at 33.34. I mean, another couple highs at 33 and a quarter. I mean, that's a huge level if it ever gets back up there. That was someone definitely had an opinion at that level.
Couple other earnings reports here from last night there. We'll start with Aeropostale, ARO, another disaster quarter for this stock. It did it last quarter when it gapped down from 750 to $6. Well, now we're going from 450 to 395. So the cheap stock just got cheaper. That seems to be what happens in this market still. Is
Wow.
cheap stocks do get cheaper. The earnings report, they lost 52 cents on an adjusted basis, supposed to lose 72, but actually on the non-adjusted number, they lost 98 cents. The revenue just flat out missed, 359 million versus 409 million. The guidance they're lowering, it's just not good news. RBC downgrading them today. So everything going bad at Aeropostale, and I don't know at this stock, and it's just looking like it's on the death march.
I can't really tell you where support. I mean, I can tell you where the
Zero.
the pre-market low. They dipsy doodled down to 358. You got a little recovery off that. What I can tell you is where resistance going to be, and if this thing ever gets back to the 430 area, 440, you had the last 1, 2, 3, 5 lows between that area. So hey, if you get a quick pop off this thing, or if it opens too high, 4.25, 430, I'd love to whack it there, but I don't think that's going to happen. So we're going to keep an eye on the pre-market low. Pre-market low, 358. You haven't seen this stock in this area until you go back to April of 2003. You had a low at 395, but the low in March of 2003 was 286. So not a pretty picture here at Aeropostale.
Couple more. GameStop, GME, an actual retailer that actually reported a decent quarter. They beat 59 versus 57. 2 billion versus 2.03 billion, just slightly missed on the revenue, but doesn't matter. They're looking for retailers just to beat. When you beat as a retailer, I guess they drive you higher here because everybody's been missing. 38.45 is where it's trading at right now. Went out at 36.88. Lots of resistance was kind of at the 38 level, and you're kind of going through that here now. But this is also something that's been cascading down for the last month and a half. So I think there's overhead resistance, especially up at 40 if you get that high. Not sure if it's got the gas to get up that high though.
Well, it did get up very high in the pre-market. Got up to as high as 39.58. So buck away from that level. You want to keep an eye on it. I see those highs that you're talking about at 38. So you can use that. It's broke above it. You can use that as support now. And then going back, this 38 to what? I mean, there's a big gappy area from 38 to 40. So you could find some air in there. Nice round number like 40 could definitely pose a little bit of resistance with some paper. You did have a high above 40 at 40.49. That's $2 away from here. Keep an eye on the pre-market high. That's the level I'm looking at, 39.58.
J-Dot's asking about TFM, which is the fresh market, and they did report there last night too at 407. They reported inline earnings of 43 cents. They beat on the revenue, 431 million versus 419 million. Everybody was leaning to the short side on this thing because this thing is really weak coming into the report, and it is bouncing back here. So here's one of those examples. If you can just slightly beat, as some of these retailers have been beat up, you do bounce back, and in this case, the stock is trading up 10% here this morning at 31.70.
Let's take a look here. You did get a pop up to 32.40 in the pre-market. Have pulled back here a little bit, not much. Currently trading at 31.70. I'll call minor support here at 31.35. You had that low just a few minutes ago. Looking at this chart, I mean, you do have a lot of air going up here. Race through the 30 handle before, race through the 31 handle. If they can really keep this going, major resistance comes in at the $33 level. You had three highs between 32.99 and 33.10 back on May 8th, 9th, and 12th.